Hey guys, Pete, Joel, and Cruiser here from PJC Fishing.
And today we'll be showing you our top 5 baits for the year of 2018.
So to start out with, which worked really well for smallmouth, and when I went up to New Hampshire in the spring, is these pink or bubblegum colored Zoom trick worms. These worked really, really well. Any pink swim baits, worms, they worked really well. They always work really well for smallmouth. Cut them in half, and you can catch the smaller ones. The smaller, like pound, half a pound, just the ones that cruise around the banks, and then the smallmouth that cruise around the banks, the smaller ones, and then if you give it the full size, you can get some, 2, 3, 4 pound even smallmouth, especially up there in Lake Winnipesaukee. And then what also worked very well when I came back down here is these same Zoom trick worms, but in watermelon color with the chartreuse tip. And I think it was really the chartreuse tip that really attracted them really well. We used 2 kinds this year. We used them in brown and this green color, brown with the chartreuse tip and green with the chartreuse tip. And they both worked equally as well. I highly recommend these. These are great worms. We caught a lot of bass on these, and they work really well. After the morning bite, you can throw them. I caught my biggest bass of the year, almost 4 pounds this year. That was my biggest this year. I caught him on that worm right here. They go after these worms like crazy.
All right, so the baits that I found luck with this year were some watermelon seed Senkos, just wacky rigging them. For some reason, the fish loved them. I'm not sure. I usually find luck with Senkos, but this year I really keyed in on finesse fishing with them, and I did catch a lot of big fish with them.
Yeah.
Now for something that we use more so late summer, early fall, and we're going to continue to use our swim baits, pearl swim baits, because they just worked good. They imitate shad. Me and Joel caught a lot of fish on them, including Cruiser back there in the tank. They just have that reaction to them, and they're such a good bait and versatile bait to use that you can catch basically anything on.
Yeah, and any ponds that you can't use a jerk bait in, which is our next bait, and that works really well. But these jerk baits and any deep ponds that's not rocky, not a lot of vegetation. If it's like 8 feet deep, this is where you want to use it, because where those bass will be, that's 8 feet deep. The drop offs near the coves. On the points of the coves, those drop-offs right there, these work so well. They work excellent. You can catch tons of bass in these, and we use them this whole year, not just the spring or the fall. We use them in the summer, spring, fall, even into the really late winters when we actually still get bites with these and the swim baits.
Mm-hmm. And we use the slow sinking, not the rising ones. We just found more luck.
And the deep diving.
Yep.
But in shallower ponds, you definitely want to use the swim baits or flukes, or if you have some of the shallow diving ones. But I wouldn't recommend, especially rocky ponds.
Yeah.
Shallow ponds you can use it, but rocky ponds I would not recommend swim baits at all, because these treble hooks just get caught in it.
Yeah, that's the only downfall to the jerk bait in a rocky pond.
Yeah.
But for my bait of choice, I guess, is lipless crankbait. Besides the jerk bait for this year, this caught a lot of fish for me. It's something about it this year where we kind of keyed in more on bass fishing than all-around fishing, and we really stepped up our game. And just using lipless crankbaits, I found a lot of luck in catching fish, basically everywhere, running it through grass, and anything I could find where I thought a crankbait would work, it worked this year.
Yeah, and definitely if you're not using middle water baits, you definitely want to use top water, especially in early mornings. Like this Rapala Skitter Pop frog, colored Skitter Pop. It was an awesome bait, especially during the early mornings. I'd throw this, and then I'd throw the worm. The fish love this popper, and this popper just has such a great action, and it's nothing. You can cast it farther than most poppers, and the action on it just gives it such a nice spray every time you jerk it. It's just an awesome bait. I would highly recommend it. It might be a little pricey for you, but I'm telling you, it's worth it. I think it's $12-$14, something like that.
It's definitely worth it.
But it's definitely worth it.
Now, my top water bait of choice this year is a frog. I'm more of a frog type guy than a top water popper, but I found a lot of luck this year with frogs. Throwing them on top of lily pads, on top of grass, anywhere I thought a frog would work. That's where I was throwing it, and I was catching a lot of fish with it.
Yeah, the top water worked really well this year. Especially that's when we want to throw it in the early morning, and the worms worked really well this year. I Texas rigged my worms, and he wacky rigged and drop shotted. I wacky rigged in New Hampshire with those, and that worked well too. But I like Texas rigging. That's my favorite way to rig, and he likes wacky rigging,
style.
More finesse wacky rigs. But that's all we have for PJC Fishing 2018 best baits, and hope you keep up. Follow us on Instagram, on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube right here. We're going to have some updates on this fish tank right here, the cruiser in them, and have some live feeding. Might actually do some live streams with just the fish tank with cruiser. And that's it for this episode of PJC Fishing Tackle Vid, and we'll see you next time.